Today is a very interesting day because I'm literally reviewing the Pixar mascot. Good afternoon and welcome to Turbo Tortoise Tech. If you're new here, I'm Reese of the 4-piece variety or Triple XL. I've got another webcam from HP. They obviously liked what I did on the last one, and they've sent me a whole new set of peripherals. So expect a lot of their gaming stuff. Their new Omen keyboards with Cherry MX switches, amongst other things, are going to be coming up on the channel. This 950 4K webcam though, it's quite corporate-y once again. They've gone for a very sort of angled approach with very wide angle lenses is their main focus. This is 103 degrees, so it is extremely wide. Most cameras that we're used to from webcams do between like 70 and 90 at most. So this is extremely wide angle, but it's also extremely well built. HP has knocked this thing out of the park and delivered a small nuclear bunker worth of product quality and finish over here, with a very nice setup as well, with quite a lot of flexibility. So what do you get in the box? Well, you get this 4K 950 webcam, and then you also get a little leaflet telling you to go to do a download for the driver for this, or for the software for this, because it's extremely comprehensive. Now, the webcam has all of the right finishing parts physically. It's got rubberizing on the inside of the clamshell over here, so that when it attaches onto your screen, it's not going to slip around or whatever the case is. You can also remove it. There's a screw over there, and you are able then to just put the neck of it onto the top of a tripod stand. The neck itself has movement in it, up and down as well, which is really nice. So if you've got it set on the screen comfortably, you don't have to adjust the back piece in order to go up and down, which I quite like. Left and right is just standard on the top of the swivel over there. Nothing really to write home about. The lens, however, is pretty nicely done. It's nice and big and wide and open and nicely finished as well, with a very clear gloss on it. I did manage to keep it clean until I got the beauty shots, which is absolutely fantastic. There's also a built-in shutter, which I quite like. So if you just want to, ensure that privacy and make sure it's completely closed, then you can do that over there. The cable is also pretty sick and like maybe a little bit overbuilt, HP, I'm not gonna lie. This is some ridiculously dense braiding. Maybe it's because of the USB 3 that it needs to have. Maybe that cable needs to be a bit thicker. I kind of experienced the same thing with the Logi Brio, so maybe that's a contributing factor. The only thing I don't like about the physical product setup, and I'm actually somewhat okay with it at the same time, is that the cable is non-removable. But the Garrett that's on the back here is nicely set up. It's aiming down already behind the camera like that, and it's very sturdy. Extremely like you would have to do a serious number on this to break it out of the back of the webcam. So that's the physical product setup. Let's jump over to the PC and give it a quick test. Alrighty, so here we go with the test. So we've got the webcam control center set up. It's completely at its default state. You can see literally everything is on default as far as default can go. It does have a couple of cool functions that I want to show you here. So you can do rotation of the camera, which is always pretty cool. So you can use it in a portrait mode as well if you wanted to. So if I was, this way. If I was, there we go. Now I'm kind of upright. Now I'm that way, and there we go. Now we're back. So you can do a couple of cool things with the camera. You can invert it, and you can also mirror it. So you can have it as off or as relative. So that's kind of nice. The fact that you can make it relative as well, I do like that is there. And I really like that I can put it through my NVIDIA broadcast, because now I have the functionality. For instance, if I wanted to, I could turn on the background blur and then give it that sort of DSLR effect. And doesn't that look absolutely fantastic? Now, another function that you are probably going to want to use, especially if you're a streamer, is the zoom function, which it does a pretty good job with. I have to say, you don't really get too much quality degradation with the zoom as well. But before I get too carried away and we start messing with brightness and contrast and all the rest of it, let me just get the scene better lit to give the lens and the sensor a bit more of a fighting chance. Alrighty, so now the scene is lit better. We can immediately see that this is over bright. The door is going absolutely mental. So now we would, start to fiddle. So it's got some built-in stuff over here, which is pretty cool. So you've got a smooth, you've got a brightness setting default, and then an accentuated, as they say. But this sensor, as you can see from the performance, it really seems like it has been set up more for low light than it has been set up for like overly bright scenes and stuff. So it does seem like it's been set up for like office sort of environments more so than the streamer environment. Especially, look how wide this angle is. I mean, my span is 184 centimeter or so. I mean, I am not a meter and a half away from the camera even. I'm probably about just over a meter from the camera, and you can see all 1.8 meters worth of arm span from me. So yeah, it's very, very wide. It makes me think it's going to be good for like low lit environments and stuff. I'm not too big of a fan of all of that focusing as well, though you can, from what I've seen in the advanced over here, you can just set your focus, which I think is going to be a better way to set it up. Turning off the backlight compensator does also improve it as well, something else I noticed. But if, for instance, if I do a manual focus over here, I can then obviously set the focus as I need to. 280 does seem to be like the sweet spot for this current scene, so let's go back to 284. So it is set up there, and that focus is pretty good. I can actually get quite a lot of myself in that sort of focus quite clearly, so pretty good there. I do really like the aperture performance. I really do. I think the auto aperture performance is pretty good. I mean, look at how fluid that is. Now, the thing is, if we want to go up to 4K over here, we have to first put it on 4K in the control center. All right, and then that's still pulling through a 1080/60 over here. So if we go 4K 30, it should then update.
Few moments later.
So let's just restart it, because it's going to resize with a much bigger size over there. So even if I give you the full picture like that, you're going to notice it's not, the aperture performance is not great. It is a little bit blurry and stuff. So I don't really rate this for its 4K sensor, to be quite honest with you. But if I even just drop it to 2K, you'll notice that aperture performance goes way up. Look at that. Look at how nice and fluid that is. The 2K as well is pretty sharp. I think my lighting and stuff with its variants, it's going to be hard for me to get it, perfect as far as that goes. But this is technically 4K 60 or 4K 30. If I go to 1080/60, there is flicker, which is maybe an interference. Let me just deactivate and activate again so that you can see it coming up. There we go. Put myself back in the corner. So it is flickery at the moment like that. Let's try and put it straight through into OBS, which I don't think will work. We'll have to use the
12 seconds later.
Alrighty, we unbroke it and I got it back. I kind of may have done a thing to it, but 1080p looks good on this camera, man. It is pretty clean. I gotta say, for a webcam, it's really not bad. Their sensor really is the only letdown here, though. You can see by the compression marks and stuff that you're seeing over there, those, like when you see those little blocks like that, it just means that the sensor isn't big enough to capture as much as they were sort of hoping, I think. But the fluidity of this camera is very good. It's pretty good for movement. The focus is, let's be honest, a little bit annoying that it constantly sits and focuses and focuses and focuses. That is not the way. That is not the way, brothers. The auto framing was quite nice. I do think you could probably do a better job yourself, though, with it. So, yeah, but it's got the functionality there. And the fact that I can take the command center and then put it through NVIDIA Broadcast lets me, for instance, do things like this. I can immediately enable background blur, and then NVIDIA will help make a DSLR type picture. Or, for instance, if I went background removal completely, then you can see it is bugging a little bit over here on the floor. It thinks the floor is the same as my arm. My tiles are apparently a little bit too close to being rice color. So yeah, but it does work. And the fact that I can then fiddle with it after the fact is really nice to have. You can do noise removal. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff you can do in NVIDIA Broadcast to further then improve that picture quality. But that's it for the test. Back to the studio. So you can see they've done a pretty good job here once again. I think in its niche, it's very, very good. And like I said, widescreen and wide angle sort of applications and stuff. This is going to knock it out of the park. This is really good to have for that. I would like to see them employ a little bit of a better sensor. I think their work on all the software and all of that sort of stuff is really good and like really high level and quite ahead of the curve. As far as like manufacturers go, the only one that I can think of that springs to mind with that level of control is the Elgato face cams, which we know are impressively good. But yeah, when you start to go over 2,000 Rand, you start to expect certain levels of performance. The 1080p and even the 2K did look pretty good. The 4K, I don't know if I would use it, just based on the flicker and the quality and stuff. The 1080p and the 2K, the little bit of tuning did come out quite nicely. And the fact that I can take that HP Control Center as a webcam and put it through other programs like NVIDIA Broadcast and OBS, and then further customize it, just means that you can eliminate some of that, compression and stuff that it is bringing through from the sensor. All in all, I got to give it not bad out of 10, comrade. It's definitely worth it if you are looking for a wide angle setup for an office or conferencing area. It does have a built-in microphone as well, nothing to write home about. But if you don't have a mic and you just need people to be able to speak and conference in a wider angle environment, then maybe this could be a good option for you. Anywho, that is all I have for you on HP's 950 4K UHD webcam. If you have enjoyed it, please hit us up with a like and subscribe, and I will see you on the flip side.